Hello everyone, this is Olga show for you. This is our second half of English speaking programming from 6 to 7 every Saturday night. I'm learning English with you from the best with the best, what America has to offer, and other countries as well, and companies around us who have been carefully selected to come to our show. So not only I learn from them, but also our community will learn from our guests. And we have guests every Saturday night. Please call us at 408-912-5265, 408-912-5265. You can also find all of the information how to contact us at olgashow.org, olgashow.org. Also, you can find us on u923fm.com, u923fm.com. You can listen to us live, but if you want to see us, you have to connect to ustream.tv, and you can see us live as we are speaking right now. For those who had great Valentine's Day, congratulations. For those who are still waiting for great Valentine's, you're gonna find it, no problems. And hear what Tina Turner wanted the best, and I can play a little bit of this song for all of you. And happy Valentine's. I think it should be every day and every moment in our life. I don't hear. Can we do it a little louder, or we would not hear us this place? Yeah, thanks. On this simple note, we're gonna come to our guest. Hello, Alicia White. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Where are you coming from today?
San Jose, so not very far.
Were you born in San Jose?
No, I was born in Southern California, and after college came up to San Jose for the jobs.
So which college did you go to?
I went to Harvey Mudd College. It's a small engineering school in Claremont that specializes in really focused technology, science, math, and then once they've got us there to be in one of their very few majors, they then teach us a bunch of humanities so that we don't go out and destroy the world. It's an interesting place.
So I just wondering, how many girls did you have study with you at that college of engineers?
So that's a great question, because when I went in my class of about 150, it was 5-1. But as of last year, Harvey Mudd is 50-50.
Wow.
So there are as many women as men in the engineering classes, and in the computer science classes, and in the biology classes.
All right, so ladies never afraid of math and science. We just, I guess, I'm a scientist myself, so I love biology, microbiology, physics, chemistry, bring it all, statistics. And I see like wonderful books you wrote, Making Embedded System, yes, and Orally Media, right?
Yeah, so they're the people that have the animal on the cover.
Okay.
And my animal is a nightjar, a great-eared nightjar. And I like him because he's serious-looking and yet has those floofy little ear tufts. And the book is a little bit like that. It's really serious. It's technical. Its goal is to get through some good, difficult material, but at the same time to have a sense of humor about it. And so the book goes through different things you do and things that you do as an engineer, making gadgets, making embedded systems. But it always tries to have, fun doing it. When we talk about how do you read a data sheet, my data sheet is for a triceratops, which is it's a dinosaur.
Okay,
the dinosaur.
All right.
And so it talks about like if the dinosaur was a chip, how would you lay out the data sheet? How would you talk about it? Like, what does a triceratops have as an input? What does it have as an output? What does it do? And that's what chips data sheets do. but I wanted to have fun. I wanted you to actually read it.
I have to ask, what is the datasheet? What do Triceratops do?
Well, they run, and as long as you charge them, and then when they're done charging, they stop running.
Okay.
And that's only if you actually read the data sheet, which you don't have to do because that's like the pictures, and so you don't. But yeah, they charge.
Triceratops charge. Do they charge with food, or do I have to go and poke them with a needle full of electricity?
Well, for this Triceratops, there was electricity involved. Yes.
Oh, I see.
But that's kind of one example when we talk about, in the section that talks about building a block diagram, it's more about how do you make blinking lights, because that's what everybody wants to do first. Make a blinking light.
A blinking light. A blinking lights are very important. There was some on the highway on the way here. Not on the highway, there's some on the roads over here which I felt were holding us back, but important.
So now, being embedded software engineer, you write software for those computers? Or any computers?
Not exactly. I like to say I write software for things that aren't computers. Think about your microwave. How does it do little things? How does it beep? And that's because the embedded software engineer wrote software for it.
And you also work on DNA scanners, children toys, race cars, gunshot location system, among many other things. And in fact, you brought us children's toys. So where are those buttons where you never can stop them?
Yeah, are you the person who makes those things endlessly sing?
Okay, where's that button? I know
any button will make it go.
Oh, okay.
So this is a Leapfrog children's toy that I worked on about 10 years ago.
Press a letter to play
Oh,
And so if you look at it closely, it doesn't have the stickers. Some of the colors aren't right.
I know
And,
now how I can stop this.
Just put it down.
You can't.
Put it down and walk
It'll go
away.
on forever. That machine will outlive
Okay,
the
so
world.
if we will hear soundtrack, so we know that those toys, I know they never stop them, like they're gonna keep interacting with children, which is good, because if I'm busy cooking in the kitchen or doing some phone calls, you want those toys interact.
Thanks for learning with me.
Yeah,
And that
thanks for
message,
learning.
the
Yeah.
thanks for learning, is called the play with me message. It's the come back and play with me when the toy is begging you to come back.
Hooray to learning, yes.
But it was Leapfrog that we also worked on one for potty training. And as an engineer, having variables called poo name and pee name and all the bodily
I
functions.
don't know about this toy, but yes.
And yeah, I was teaching potty training. I have to say the gunshot location system was a lot more serious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
Well, in
assuming.
some degree, it's also serious. It's not maybe life-threatening serious, but you don't want to clean after miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what do you want to clean? Blood or so poops? You know, I have to say.
These are the questions in life I never thought I'd be asked.
Okay, this is live radio show, and I can show you the books. Yes, we have another question.
Yes, what's the main difference between developing software for embedded system and developing software for other systems?
When you work on a computer, you have all of the resources in the world. You don't worry about RAM or processor cycles or how big your code needs to be. These are all things that the engineers from 1970s had to worry about. But now if you're making a web application, who cares? Even if you're making a phone application, use all the RAM, use all the space. But when you're doing something like Fitbit's pedometer, and it's got to fit in your pocket and it's tiny, well, you have to optimize this so that it fits in a small processor with only a little bit of RAM and can use only a little bit of battery power every day, and it can last for a week. So this is an embedded system. For this, it's more about making it cheap. And so embedded systems sometimes are about what
And
is it?
unbreakable, preferably.
Preferably unbreakable.
So that's the difference is resource constraints.
But there are surely other many challenges when it comes to testing such software. What do you do when you have like a very, very tiny piece of hardware, and how do you test it?
Oh wow, that depends on the application, really. It's a good question. I've worked on FDA and FAA software for medical and going in airplanes. And that level of testing is so much different than for Leapfrog, where they want the experience to be good, but if it crashes, it's okay.
Yes, if the plane crashes, there might be some few more issues than with my Leapfrog crashes.
Exactly. Few more issues.
Do you actually walk on the street to test the pedometer, for example?
Not only do we walk on the street, but sometimes when we need to test a whole bunch of them, you load up your pockets so you can barely walk. and then you go out with a GPS, and I don't know, you probably will never see them walking around on the Embarcadero in San Francisco. But Leapfrog for a while was putting some of their secret stuff inside of a stroller, inside of an ET doll. So if you're ever on the Embarcadero and you see the ET doll, it's probably somebody from Fitbit walking around and testing something secret.
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you.
You have just now given out Fitbit's great secret.
Oh no, I have many more.
oh, okay.
I see this book, but now it's in different language. What is that?
This is in Chinese, so not
All right,
only is
Chinese.
Making Embedded Systems in English, it's also in Chinese.
So, as a writer, how do you write the books? And so, smart books, I must say, and then translate them and be accepted by Orally Media.
Wow, there are lots of questions there.
Yeah, I download you right now. Yes.
Well, the translation first, I had very little to do with. So that part, I am so pleased it isn't Chinese, but I had very little to do with that part.
So you don't speak Chinese.
I definitely don't speak Chinese.
So that the company decided who had your book that it has market of making embedded system, and they translate it for you in Chinese.
O'Reilly worked with a distributor in China, and so the Chinese publisher went ahead and translated it. I have had a few friends who speak Chinese who look at it, and we've talked about what it actually says and whether or not my jokes made it through. Apparently a few of them did, so that's great.
Okay.
But going back to the question of how do you work with O'Reilly, and that, my luck was just really, really good. They have a slush pile. You go to their website, they say the first most important thing for sending us a proposal is to spell our name correctly. Because O'Reilly, it's a little weird spelling, but yeah, I managed that part. And then I sent a proposal, and they sent me an email back saying, yeah, we check, we'll be back to you in a month, maybe 6. And then they called the very next day. It was so exciting. And they said, yes, let's do this. And I said, okay. And then a year later, it came out, somewhat to my shock. I mean, writing a book is tough, but very rewarding.
So they pay you to write the book, or you already had ready book to sell it to them?
Different publishers want different things. O'Reilly wants to work with you. I had an editor, and he wanted to work with me every week. He wanted to read my chapters before I was done with them. He had great advice for make it more concrete, or this part needs better pictures. Other publishers want you to be done. It just depends. I went in with just the idea. And part of me, like many of my brilliant ideas, they really wanted them to come back and say, oh, somebody's already working on that. Do you want a copy? And you can do a preview copy. And I would have been okay with that. But in this case, they didn't have anybody ready to go, and they liked it.
Okay. I was wondering, in terms of the, did they pay you during the week when you write the book so
yes.
you can survive?
Well, I'm a consultant. I'm a contractor. So I work pretty much for myself and hourly for other companies. And so I did that about half-time to keep, grocery money coming in. But O'Reilly did give me an advance, and it was about 3 months worth of salary. So between that and living a little frugally and doing a little bit of side jobs, it wasn't too hard. And now they pay me every month for the dividends that come in.
Wonderful. Now, as for my intern and those who actually on the camera right now or Ustream.tv, you can see a chip design, right? Am I correct? Because I go to all of the technical shows, and I'm aware of company ARM, and NXP. So that's more detailed, okay, here for you. Here on different cameras. And then, oh, this is like sterilely done, so I wouldn't open that plastic bag for you,
What does
I
the
guess.
chip do? What does that chip do? What is it for?
Well, I wasn't quite sure what to bring you.
Okay, no, that's perfect because I know it goes inside of those tiny little toys and big
Exactly.
toys, which makes them smarter. This is like a brain of the toy
Exactly.
Oh.
or any gadgets you have.
So that's the thing that keeps singing. That little chip.
Well, this chip that I have, that I'm holding, is about 10 times bigger than the chip that's in the toy.
Oh.
It's probably now only 2 times more expensive, but the toy was 10 years ago, and so this is today's technology. What I'm actually holding is the embed board for the NXP LPC 1768. Yeah, that was great. But it is,
Yeah,
it's
we're
an ARM
gonna
Cortex
send the test
M3.
question to our listeners.
Yes.
If they can repeat that, they can get a ticket to Star Wars exhibition at Tech Museum. Okay.
Wow. Okay then, listeners.
Okay, I'm
but-
sure my husband's listening, so go ahead and call in, sweetie.
Yeah, you can get the Tech Museum Star Wars exhibits. It's only until 23rd of March, and I have VIP tickets, not just simple tickets. You get VIP. I like VIP treatment. Thank you very much, Tech Museum, and everybody else who give us VIP access to anything and everything.
So back to the board. It's got a Cortex M3, which is an ARM processor, like you said, and it's the most popular one right now because it goes into battery devices very well. It doesn't take a lot of power. And this is the development board. And the idea is if you have a project at home, you know, you want blinking lights on your bike to do something special, you want the squirt gun to automatically squirt the bird that tweets outside your window. Whatever your home project idea is, this platform is pretty good for getting started. You don't need to have read my book in order to get started with playing with some blinking lights and a few motors here and there.
Actually, I was just thinking, if
Very-
you make it smaller enough, we can put it in my ring, and then it's gonna shine, and you don't have to buy expensive diamonds. You can just get shiny rings. Would you like that? And next Valentine, you can get like shiny rings.
I'm a guy. I don't wear shiny rings.
Shiny and beeping, and we can turn it off, but it can have light during the night when you need it. When you don't need it, you turn it off.
I want one of those James Bond watches, which just gives me everything, all the daily updates, like what weather in it, in a special secret voice. Just everything just comes out. Your mission has been given. Get to school. It's 7:30 in the morning. You should be leaving.
I think that's coming. I think that's coming in the next 2 years.
Next 2 years, nice.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I would like to remind to our listeners and viewers where we met. This was a very unusual dinner with geeky girls. How did you end up there?
So this was the DesignCon Girl Geek Dinner. And DesignCon is put on by UBM, which are publishers of a couple of electronics magazines, EE Times and a number of other things. They also do another conference, sometimes called Design West, sometimes called the Embedded Systems Conference. This year it's called EE Live.
All right.
Boy, I wish they'd stop changing the name.
And it's actually coming in end of March, and we'll be talking about the Internet of Things. Coming here to San Jose or somewhere around.
San Jose Convention Center. So I'm involved with EE Live and the Embedded Systems Conference for several years. 1 year I talked about how to make a board very similar to this, control Christmas lights that you could leave up all year, and every day, Valentine's Day comes and you don't forget because for a week your house has been red. And then March comes and it turns green, and 4th of July and Halloween.
Oh, that's
and
actually
so
very
every day you never
convenient, so you
take it
don't
out.
have to take it out. those
So
lights,
year
yeah.
round, your house can be completely bright and visible from space.
Well, that too, and your neighbors don't mind.
That's what. Yeah, wait. Does that mean like for your birthday you could have giant party hatches on lights all around your house?
No, I think you just have to choose a color. Sorry.
Oh.
Maybe in a few years.
In
from
a few
now.
years.
Yes, but it's still different. You can have red, green, purple, bright
Wow.
yellow, or bright white, and so that's kind of nice. So you don't have to take it off, put it back on. That's a lot of workout.
And this year at EE Live, I'm speaking about the Internet of Things, as you mentioned. I meant to give a talk about how it's really hard for users to use it. The way engineers set it up is more a way for engineers to use it. and not for grandma and my 4-year-old niece and people who aren't super technical. So that was my plan to talk. Unfortunately, now I'm kind of doing a much gentler talk that is less how much it is awful and more just getting started. So I'll be getting on the cloud at EE Live at the end of March. It's my talk.
All right, so EE Live, and I most likely will be there because as media, I get press pass for all of the technical conferences, so I can learn from the best of the best and bring them here to our show, and we can share that information with those who was not able to come to the show or want to know beforehand or after the conference what's actually was the conference about or what was the interesting subject have been exposed or talk about at the conference itself. So now being lady in embedded system engineering, pretty much what 5 out of 10, maybe 10% still at the conference. Design con wasn't so many ladies still, I would say.
No, I'm looking more in the speaker room because that's where I think it's important to make a difference. More women speaking at the conference will show a bigger presence of women in technology. So last year we had a couple of panels. We had a great one. It was biomedical devices. And we had someone who did a heart rhythm monitor, and one of the Fitbit people came and talked, and it was a great technical panel. We just all happened to be women. It was so fun because there was no fuss made out of it, but we got to show that it's not all guys doing this. There are women and there are technical women. This year, the conference has tripled the number of women speakers who are non-panelists, which means that we went from 2 to 6. But that's better than it had been. There was one year when it was just me. So
now you're talking about the show for people who love gadgets. You have podcast called Making Embedded Systems on iTunes, Stitcher, Instacast. What is that and why are you doing that?
So it's a podcast, which is kind of like a radio show that isn't this cool. I mean, you've got all these neat gadgets, but and it's on embedded.fm is the direct URL, or Making Embedded Systems on pretty much all the podcast apps. And it is, the tagline is the show for people who love gadgets. You already said that, but it's about gadgets, but it's about making gadgets. It's about the engineering, and so it lets me talk to people about doing what they love. To share the enthusiasm for building things and for taking them apart and for coming up with new ideas and just thinking about technology and what's changing and how our manufacturing practice is changing, and just everybody who loves engineering, come on the show and talk to me. And then we'll talk, and you and I can swap lists, and then everybody will talk.
All right.
So, could you tell us about some of the cool gadgets you made, like some of the stuff that you've done?
That I've done. Well, we mentioned Leapfrog and Fitbit and the gunshot location system. And I worked in an inertial measurement unit, which at one time was a way for me to get onto a plane and have somebody never talk to me again. Inertial measurement unit just sounds so boring. But that's the thing that goes in race cars.
Really?
And
I love race cars.
Exactly. So I have been upside down an hour before the race started in the pit trying to hook up wires so that my measurement unit could work with the car so that we could have special effects on TV.
So what races did you do this for?
I only did NASCAR.
NASCAR.
And it's gone on and done mostly motorcycle races now.
Ooh, car and motorcycle. I love fast cars and motorcycles. That is really cool. So what does the inertial measurement unit tell you?
Well, now a lot of people know about Wiimotes and how when you hold them different ways, they show different things.
Yes.
But 15 years ago, that was a new concept. And even your phones now has, it has the direction, but you can hold it different ways.
Yes.
The accelerometers and the gyroscopes and the magnetometers.
Yes.
This was the first time they had been put together with no moving parts. Gyroscopes used to spin.
Oh, yeah.
And accelerometers used to have springs.
Okay.
But there's this technology called MEMS, MEMS.
Yes.
And that technology means lower power and no moving parts and less breakage and just great stuff. So Crossbow is the company, and they were the first to make an inertial measurement unit that was fully MEMS.
So would that give you stuff like G-force and?
Yes.
Oh.
And so, like, Consumer Reports used it to measure cars and the new ones that came out
Wow.
and take it around. And it went into airplanes and race cars and tractors. You want a tractor to go straight.
Yes, you don't want it's a.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know you guys got way too like technology here. I think you have to be prepared for college and university because our interview finishing up. I know we're not saying, and saying for you goodbye forever. No, we're gonna work with you and perhaps have another interview, talk about other conferences coming up. And in a few seconds here, we have what would you wish to our listeners and viewers?
I would wish that you find the passion in your job because it makes life so much better. And I would wish that whatever you're in front of, whether it's a Kleenex box or a TV, consider taking it apart. Somebody engineered that. Somebody thought about it. And it's kind of neat to see what other people are thinking about.
And that was Alicia White from her own company, which called consulting company now you work for, right? Logical Elegance.
Yes.
And you're welcome to find her on YouTube after you stream. It would be also posted on YouTube, and she will give us contact information. And also, you can always contact olgashow.org, and we'll be sure that give that information to her directly. Thank you, Alicia, to come to us. I hope I can get the copy of one of your book in English. I didn't learn Chinese yet. And if you can put Olga Show library for us, that would be great. It goes to my premieres of the books we have and CDs. And in that case, thank you so much. Stay with us from 7 o'clock. Alicia will actually learn few words in Russian. So stay with us, and we're coming back with Alicia in Russian language. Olga Show for you.
Thank you.